We
How right?
are live. There is a 20-second delay,
Okay, excellent.
but we should be live. We should be live.
Okay, nice. Did they hear me asking about my hair? Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. I've got the YouTube up.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Fuck, I'm gonna mute myself. It's fucking me up, hearing my own voice. Yeah, chat. If you could tell us if you can, because we've never streamed to YouTube live before. I set this up last week. Just let us know if you can hear us, chat. Oh god, this is crazy.
Yeah, please do. Okay, James appears to have seen us because he said woot, which is obviously an exaltation of joy. So yeah, so we have Molly's here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we have Molly. Lovely.
Incredible. All our friends are here. It's very lovely. Okay. Excellent. Demi can hear.
What I'd like to do is leave. I mean, it'd be nice to leave it for 5 minutes to let people join the stream. Just to give people a bit of a buffer.
Abby's here.
Yeah, but it'll be nice. We'll welcome people as they come in on the chat. I don't mind doing that at all. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. And they can definitely hear us. They can definitely hear us. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Love you. We have about a 20-second delay going on, by the way. So just to let you all know.
I do not have a streaming computer. I have a laptop.
Yeah, big same, but it's okay. We're doing all right. Should we? Ash is here. That's very cool. Oh my gosh, look at us go.
Because we've got some friends from Leeds University Comedy Society, which we're both a part of, and we also have some folks from Twitter who are coming through, who I guess some of them are your followers, Leo, but I don't really know anyone from Twitter.
There are people here who know me from being gay. Look after me.
The popular serialization of being gay.
Yeah, exactly. We love to see it. Should we? Do you say we'll wait until 5 past?
Yeah, it's good practice to do that. I say, having done 2 Facebook live streams for my mum. My mum's
I've done 0. I've done 0 live streams ever, so you're winning. And if you say that it's good practice to wait 5 minutes, then I trust you. My partner in crime.
Be gay, do crimes.
How is everyone? How are we all doing? And then we have to wait 20 seconds for them to hear me ask that and then respond.
I've been doing all right. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and it was because we played a game of this last week and we really loved it. And big shout out to James Groundhogoth, who's in the chat, who made this game, and also we also watched our playthrough and did some cool. We just like gave some feedback, and I have tweaked the rules slightly because like just because of the way we played it last week, but it's a really lovely system, and it's very flexible. James has written a bunch of different play sets. There's stuff like lawyer and defendant. Last week we played Superstar and Rascal, which is like
that was excellent.
A celebrity and like a petty criminal.
And I made the shameful decision to set it in the American South.
Because we do have recordings of several 2-player RPGs that we've played, and we haven't released them to the public. We initially recorded them just for our own purposes to watch them back, and because we're both improvisers, and this is a good way of kind of stretching that muscle while in lockdown. But I don't know about you, Leo, but I think it would be really nice to possibly release some of those early games that we did recently.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Brandon, who's in the chat, made the first 2-player RPG we played together, which is called The Moon Wants Me to Leave You. Just excellent, angsty,
so good, highly
supernatural, queer themed game. Very, 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 very intimate and relationship driven. It's lovely. And then we played Facing You, which is by Swords and Flowers. I don't know his actual name, but you can find Swords and Flowers on itch.io. That's just a really fun one about two rivals who are facing off against each other, and the way we flavored it was like a superhero and a supervillain who used to be friends and then split apart and then kind of like find themselves back together again, with very different moral agendas, and that was really, really good fun. That's a lovely system.
Also, James has said in the chat that he's ridiculously excited and hugely nervous. Please be excited. Please don't be nervous. We're the ones that are nervous. You're fine.
Oh, this is exciting. We've got I'm seeing 10 viewers at the minute. That might be 8 because we're both got the thing open
watching the stream. So yeah, just to let everyone know, while we're actually playing the game, we won't be keeping an eye on the chat because it's quite distracting, and obviously because there's only 2 of us, we need to focus on each other. So yeah, just to let you know. Is there anything? Should we? I mean, it's 5 past. Should we jump in?
Yes, let's jump in. Yeah, okay. Let's go.
So the first thing that we need to do, which is part of the TTRPG safety toolkit, is just some sort of kind of basic like boundaries and safety measures. So there are 2. Oh, hi Laura. Sorry, I just saw that Laura's here. Hi Laura. So there are 2 things that we use, and one of them is the rating system. So if this game that we're about to play was a movie, what rating would it be? Like, PG, 15, 18 or whatever. And the second one we use is lines and veils. So lines are things which we do not want like alluded to or mentioned happening in the game, not happening off the table. Veils are things that we're fine happening kind of like as a fade to black or an implication that it happens, but we're not comfortable kind of like playing it.
We're not going to describe hardcore sex, guys.
Unfortunately. If that's what you're here for, it's fine if you leave. We won't be offended.
I live in a house with my parents.
Yeah, and my cat, I know that he'll look at me shamefully. Also, Alice, yes, we will be able to read the comments after, just not while we're playing it. So what are your lines and what are your veils?
I actually haven't got any lines. I think the only the lines that would be for me is probably rape, to be completely honest. Like that's that, and I guess incest, pedophilia.
Yeah, like, all of the gross shit. None of the gross shit is going to happen. This is a nice game.
Yeah, those I think those are my lines.
Yeah. Also, just to be clear, like these are things that we know already, but we're just reiterating them at the start of every game, so everyone knows that this is going to be like a safe place and that nothing gross is going to happen. My lines are also, just anything involving kind of like assault or abuse. Not having it, that's a line. Because even though obviously this is set in a fascist dystopia, we want a nice queer happy ending, and we don't.
We haven't even got to that part. We haven't even got to that part.
You're right. Veils then is sex, obviously. So sex will be alluded to. It will not happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope. That's fine for me. So also, if this was a film, we've decided that it would be a 15. So that's kind of an indication, the ballpark of the kind of content and how extreme the content will get as well. If you think of a film, it will be a 15.
Warnings for language, which is my favorite warning on a thing. There will probably be like mentions of violence, but nothing too horrific. And I think that's.
I've got written down violence, social inequality, content warnings. I can't remember if you were joking or if you actually wanted me to say that.
No, I think it's important. It's important to note. So this was originally supposed to be a romantic comedy, and then we got carried away with ourselves. Kit's here. Hi, Kit. And we got carried away with ourselves, and now it is a romantic comedy, but set in a very atypical setting for a romantic comedy.
We might talk about why we chose a dystopia at the end of the stream. We might stick, like, if you guys are interested, we can stick around for questions about anything you like, really, for a little bit. We're not going to go into why exactly it's a dystopian right now, because it's a bit complex. But it's a cool setting. It's a cool setting we've come up with. Also, I think there's something to notice is this is going to be queer positive. This is going to be a queer positive story that we're going to create. There's not going to be a subplot about homophobia and transphobia and whatever. It's going to be, the characters are going to exist as queer, and their queerness is not going to be the kind of driving conflict.
Yeah.
Like, it might factor into the conflict, but it's not going to be a story about how homophobia is so bad and terrible, which it is, but that's not a very interesting story and has been told a lot of times, and we want to tell a different story.
We want to tell a story with a happy ending. It will have a happy ending.
Yeah.
That is the promise that you get. Oh, fuck, my cat's seen my mic wire.
So another thing, so Leo has a cat at his house, and if the cat might appear, as it is right now appearing.
Yeah, here he is. No, that is not for you to play with, you dreadful little man.
What's happened in previous playthroughs is Bailey has walked on the table and put his ass right in the camera while Leo has been trying to do a dramatic monologue. So that might happen.
He's an ungrateful bastard, and I hate him, and also I would die for him.
The other thing is we'll try and get started at 1:15. So the setting is going to be a bit grim, but there's still going to be jokes, right? There's still going to be jokes. There's still going to be humor and lightheartedness alongside the kind of dystopian setting that we're gonna play in. Cool. Shall I explain the game rules and then you do the kind of introduction to the setting?
Yeah.
So this game system is called Thrown Together. It's by James Grandhoggeth, who's in the chat at the minute. Do you have any questions about it? So it's basically it's a game about mismatched people like clashing together and falling in love. And so the way it works is we basically do a series of scenes, and then when we feel like the scene is reaching a climax, we play a game of rock, paper, scissors. The person who wins that game of rock, paper, scissors gets to decide the resolution for that scene. If we draw, it means that we're in tune with each other, and we get to decide a resolution for the scene that works for both of us. So if you go and then your choice of rock, paper, or scissors depends on the way you'd like to resolve the scene. So if you play rock, you're trying to solve the situation with force and strength and power. That could be physical strength, it could be your social standing, or powerful leverage or huge wealth. Paper, if you play paper, you're using like skill, knowledge, or learning, using your personal knowledge or your field of expertise. Scissors, that's speed, agility, and flexibility, adapting, ducking and diving, or finding a way around instead of through. So that's basically, and so the idea is that if you both have the same idea about how to resolve something, there's a sense that both the characters are in tune there. I think that's really how it works. That's really how it works.
I think you've covered everything.
Cool.
That is necessary there.
How about you, Jem?
He's really being an attention seeker today. Sorry. Okay, so shall we start? Oh, Fraser's here. Amazing.
Fraser.
Okay, James has given us his blessing that you've explained the rules correctly.
Oh, thank you, James.
And with that, I'm going to close the streaming in the chat window and get ready. Okay, so the year is 2120. Democracy is dead and the royal family rule once again. They and all of London's upper and middle class elite have taken to the skies. Londinium elevatum, called by the people who live below it as upstairs, sits above Old London, called by the people who know it as Shit London, and it's a hovering reminder of the monarchic grip on the city. So following the camera, it sweeps over Old London, and you see below the river, there's suburbs and life and people trying sort of the best they can, almost grateful for the aspirational shadow of the royal family and the elite that's cast over them. Above the river, Old London sits in complete disrepair. The London Eye is still, and the ads that used to cover the screens in Leicester Square are now just full of warnings and threats from the Royal Guard, who were the police. But the camera only pauses on Old London for a moment, and it continues up to Londinium elevatum, and it's all glittering glass and perfect lawns, cloned trees that set out perfectly, paths through the city, beautiful sort of leafy, unfiltered sunlight coming through. It's beautiful. And the camera passes fountains and statues and perfectly paved squares. And it goes further and further towards one of those glittering glass windows that we see, almost at the penthouse of a skyscraper stretching upwards. And in one of those windows, we see a young man scramble out of someone else's bed. His hair is sticking up everywhere, and he's panicking because he's late. Because even though dawn is just breaking and it's only about 5 a.m., he has somewhere to be, and he needs to get back down to shit London immediately. So he's picking around this bedroom, trying to find last night's clothes. He finds his bag with his work uniform in it, pulls on an ugly, just a really ugly green polo shirt with a name tag on it that says, "Hi, my name is Seth." And as he stuffs last night's clothes into his bag, he notices that his hands are shaking. And his hands are shaking because in a week's time, he has to kidnap the king's children.
Awesome. Are you passing it over to me?
I am, yes.
Cool. So, in a different part of the city altogether, in fact, panning down to shit London, we see another man getting out of his bed, sits on the side, a little bit tired, and kind of stretches out. Checks his, goes to the bathroom, checks his undercut. He's got dark hair on an undercut, checks his undercut in the mirror. No, I don't have to cut it. I don't have to trim it today. And we see him pull on some smart clothes, some smart clothes, and he heads out to the local university. And we see a montage of him talking to stressed students about their dissertations, and we hear he looms over the others. He looms over the students. He's very tall, not built terribly, and we hear snatches of his conversation. Yeah, I think what's happening is you're mixing up critical theory with empirical study, and I mean, maybe there's I think if you maybe have a look at both of these papers, and maybe there'll be a way that you can understand the difference if you have a look at these. Tapping at his computer, looking at the clock, waiting for the day to end. Pass it back to you.
Yeah, so Seth is finished scrambling around, and as he's sort of getting himself ready, he stretches, and Seth is very short. Seth is about 5'3", and he's well muscled, but it's the kind of muscle that you only get because you have to. The kind of muscle that you just end up getting when there's not a lot of food and the work that you do involves a lot of heavy lifting. It's muscle that is angry to exist on his body. And he takes one last look at the guy in the bed, who is just a caricature of nobility. He has these soft curls that are fanning out onto the pillow, delicate, pale hands that have never done a day's work in their lives, completely uncalloused, perfectly manicured. And he sighs at himself because he really needs to stop doing this. It's just going to get him in trouble. But he sighs and he leaves. And the Viscount that he spent the night with doesn't stir. And as he's heading to sneak out of this guy's apartment, he opens the fridge in the kitchen, and there's a cake in the fridge. And it's like it's about this big, and it's like this perfect, like, pastry chef, beautiful creation. And he grabs it and shoves it in his mouth because he's running too late to get breakfast before he gets to work. And he deserves it more than the Viscount does anyway. And then, yeah, you see a montage of him running through the city, and this early, really the only people that are around are kind of like other people of a similar status of him. So cleaners, people who are making sure that the city looks its best before the early morning rush hour and bustle begins. And he heads towards the far side of the city, and it gets ever so slightly more dilapidated. And you see there's two elevators that will take you to and from shit London and upstairs. And there's one set of elevators that are beautiful and they're glass, and they offer you sweeping views out over the entire south, and then there's one which is essentially just a refurbished shipping container, and that's the one that Seth is getting into. He's tapping his foot because he's running late. And as he steps into the shipping container and leans his head against one of the holes in the side so he can have a little bit of a view out, his head like buzzes, and he reaches up to rub at the scar tissue on his temple, because this is like the 10th time he's had a tech implant put in, and it's still so uncomfortable and it aches. There's nothing he can really do about it. So he's like, oh, fine. And he taps it and he has 2 messages. One of them from his sister, Lydia. And it says, James, you can't afford to be late for work again. Rent's due soon. Just please try and turn up on time so your boss doesn't give you shit, and tell me that you're not going to another one of those fucking meetings. The other one is from Asha, and it just says, hey, mate, I need you to hang back after the rally today. We've got some stuff to talk about. And so Seth descends into the bowels of the old city, anxious for his day to start.
Excellent. Pass it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's much later in the day. It's in the evening. And Lewis, who's my character, is back at home. He opens his wardrobe and pushes past his normal clothes that he wears for work. And at the back of the wardrobe is a strange, very formal set of clothes. And he pulls out still kind of looking around slightly nervously, a long black cape, a black military uniform with black epaulets, and a hint of golden braid on the front, with a high collar, black trousers, knee-high boots, and last but not least, a black ceremonial sword. He puts all of these clothes on, along with the black cape, catches sight of himself in the mirror, and feels that pang of awkwardness that he always does. He looks out of the window of his house, and there's a sleek black car. Waiting in it is actually a man that we've seen a little bit earlier on. It's another person who works at the university that he works at. And the two of them, we see them arrive outside the big glass elevator. So not the shipping container one, the fancy one. And we see the two of them rise up, sitting in a cafe, not exchanging many words. There's a little cafe in the corner of this big sort of glass atrium. On one side, there's an entire wall of this glass elevator that's just a huge fish tank with all kinds of exotic fish twirling and moving through the water and nibbling at the coral. And then we see the two of them enter a room with a circle of other people wearing the same clothes as Lewis and the person who's come with him. A older man from the far side of the circle gives Lewis a look, and Lewis hands over a dossier with lots of photos of people in them, lots of personal details about those people. And Lewis just says, I got them. Here's all the information. I think you can probably get a SWAT team on them about sometime tomorrow. I think with this information, you could hit them pretty hard. That's my second scene.
Okay.
So that's both of our characters introduced.
Yes, it is. It's time for the meet cute, or the meet, whatever you call a meet cute in a fascist dystopia. So I think.
Oh, actually, one last thing. No, this will make things easier. I hand the older guy the dossier. He looks over it for a few minutes and nods and smiles, clicks his fingers, and someone else comes in and hands him another dossier, hands it to Lewis. Lewis opens a dossier, has a cursory look through. One of the photos in it is your face.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, excellent. So it is, it's 7 a.m. And it is cold in Old London today. Seth hasn't dressed for the weather, but it doesn't really matter because he's running, because he's late. And he's actually running towards a bar in Soho called the Purple Rose, because there's a meeting this morning, and it's going to be packed, and he's expecting that what's probably going to happen is he's arrived too late to get a good seat, so he's just going to have to stand at the back, and he won't be able to see anything, obviously, because he's tiny. And so he's just running along, not really paying attention to like anyone or anything, cursing himself out for being late again, because it means he's going to be late for work again. And I think that he runs into you.
Yep. So I'm, I'll be wearing my, what time is this actually in comparison to the scene that we've just seen with me?
So I think that the scene that you had was the night before this morning.
Yes, that makes more sense. So you see, you crash into you crash into Lewis, and I'm completely caught off guard, and I sort of freeze into like a defensive stance, a little bit practiced, and then I relax. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. Jesus.
Oh, no, that's no problem.
Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine actually. Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. No, it just
was quite a tumble you took, buddy.
Yeah, it's just one of those mornings. I'm late for something, and I wasn't really paying attention to where I was going, and I'm really sorry.
No. That's fine. Oh, actually, I don't know this area very well. You wouldn't happen to know where? And I show you the name of the place that I show you the name of the place on my phone.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed, actually.
Oh, that's well.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going in totally the wrong direction, man.
Oh, right.
You've gone past it. It's on this street. Come on.
Oh, thank you.
What's your name?
Oh, my name? I'm Lewis.
Hi, Lewis. I'm Seth. Nice to meet you. Yeah, it's it's good. It's good to have a new face. Obviously, there's stuff we need to run through when you get there, just to make sure that you're not a cop. But you don't look like one. Seth takes a pointed glance down at your shoes, and looks back up at you and says, yeah, cops always wear the same two types of shoes: brand new boots or weirdly shiny business shoes. And yours look lived in, so I trust you already.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, you can tell the measure of man by his shoes. Here we are, by the way. And he gestures. And
are there really going to be cops here? That's kind of scary, isn't it?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a risk that we all have to take, but I mean, there's nothing, there's nothing they can get on us anyway, because we're not doing anything wrong.
I'm just nervous. I've never done this before.
Oh, it's your first time. Well, I'm honored. He stops you and points to a door, and it's not like a pub front. It's a door with stained glass with a purple rose set in it. And behind it, there's like a steep flight of steps. And as soon as you step in, you can hear the sound of like a crowd, like angry and chanting upstairs. And Seth kind of like takes off up without a second look.
I follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, so loud.
You've come too late to get a good seat. So we'll just have to stand back here and listen. And as you enter, there are two guys on the door who stop you. They let Seth through because they know him, but they look at you and kind of give you a frown, and they ask, how did you hear about this place? Who are you?
Oh, I sort of been following some of your movements on social media, and I care about the cause. I want to see democracy come back.
Right. He grabs a scanner, and it's like, it looks a bit like a scanner that they use in shops, but it's really battered and like gnarly looking. And he tells you to put your head up, and he runs it underneath your neck, and then along your temples.
It picks up a small device that looks like this. You can just, like, because his neck is stretched, you can just barely see it.
What's that?
I use this to take. I get migraines. It's kind of embarrassing.
Right.
It helps me deal with it helps me deal with the migraines.
Seth, what do you think? And Seth just kind of like pulls him aside, has a word, and then they step and let you through.
Oh, that was scary. It is migraines, though.
I mean, it's better for them to be safe than sorry. I've got to say, you're not the type of person that I'm used to coming here. You're quite skittish, I guess.
I don't really have a lot. I don't really have a lot going on for me, if I'm honest. And seeing the rallies and seeing the videos on social media and hearing the chants in the street, like, I feel like that could give me a purpose,
Yeah.
I think it's...
Yeah, I know, I've been there. But, if you're scared by a couple of guys with a scanner, it only gets scarier from here on in.
Do you think you could maybe look out for me? You seem like you know this place really well.
Sure, yeah. Tell you what, there's another meeting tonight, and it's less like this. It's quieter, gives people a chance to talk and get to know each other. You should come.
That sounds good.
You can see him anxiously checking his watch and looking up at the sort of you can't see the man at the front of the crowd from where you're standing, but you can hear him, and he kind of Seth looks up over and looks back and says, oh, fuck, I wish he'd hurry up. Like, I get that he's like the head of a movement and he's all like, oh, big speeches, but sometimes he really goes on. Like, how many synonyms for democratic revolutionary do you need to come up with? I think we get the picture by now. God.
Do you really think we can bring democracy back? I mean,
well, yeah.
It's been so long. It feels like the fight's been going on for so long. It feels like we'll never do it. The monarchy holds all the cards. It's, how do you keep going?
I don't know you, and I don't have any particular reason to trust you, but you seem like someone who just wants to help. So I'll tell you this. Change is coming. We have a plan.
You have a plan?
I can't. If they found out that I was telling anyone about it, they'd kill me, but
no, of course,
let's just say there's a way for us to get some of the cards back, and we're going to do it.
That's impossible. How?
No, friend.
Are they going to talk about it at the meeting
box.
this evening?
Oh no.
Okay.
There's a little group of us that are working on it. It's not something that we want to talk to the members about, really. You know, the more people who know, the more people who could snitch, that kind of thing. But you should know that change is coming. We're going to make it happen. We have to make it happen.
I see. Look, I don't know if this helps at all, but I have some savings from when my mum died, actually, and I've kind of been sitting on them and not really. No, it's stupid. Sorry.
Wow, no. No, you know what? The meeting's tonight at 6.
I shouldn't have said that. That was weird. I made it weird. I don't need to tell you about my dead mother.
Hey, it's fine. He puts a hand on your shoulder, and looks up at you, because again, he's very, very small. He reaches up to put a hand on your shoulder, and he says, "No, listen. Any help that you can give, it's fine. It's good. You haven't. The meeting's at 6 tonight, but come half an hour earlier. I'll see if I can get Asher to talk with you. He sorts out all of that stuff. I'm just a guy." But you seem like you want to do good, and I can't fault you for that.
I do, I mean,
don't we all? Look at them. They just need something. They just need a crumb of hope, and they could so easily give it to us, and they just won't. And it's a fucking nightmare. Sorry, this isn't helpful. This isn't a join our movement speech. This is.
I already joined it, so.
Yeah.
And we look out at the crowd of people who are assembled in this function room, I guess it is. There are, I imagine there's groups of people who are like who are like having these heated discussions about these heated discussions about different kinds of democracy and first past the post and how problematic it is. And
so there's a lot of ideological splits within the London revolutionaries. And there are people fighting about that.
And then there are other tables of people talking a bit more quietly, I guess. There's like a little like stage set up at the far side of the room where like often like gigs and like small bands can play, and there's a microphone set up, and the people near the front keep kind of looking around trying to see. Do we have a name for the guy who's kind of the? Is it a guy or is it?
Yeah, his name's Asher.
That's Asher. It's got it.
I think that someone beckons Seth over, and he sort of gives you like an apologetic, like, sorry, I was gonna, and it's a woman, and I step over to talk to her, and you can't make out exactly what we're saying, but you can tell that it gets pretty heated pretty quickly. Seth's doing a lot of gesticulating, and what you do catch is him angrily saying, I won't do it. I've told you before, and I'll tell you again, I will not do that.
I sit at the table and I put I stare off into the middle distance and lay my hand on my cheek, and with my thumb I push the device in my neck, and the sound the sound in the room gets really, really loud, and I sort of like do that, and I manage to filter. I'm able to kind of filter different parts of the noise in the room until I can hear what the conversation is about.
Okay. Love to role play with myself. Okay, so she's saying
I can like if you tell
Oh, yeah,
if you give me an
that
idea
would
of
be
what
great.
if you give me an idea of what the conversation is about, I'll play this character for you.
Right. So they're arguing about the kidnapping.
Okay.
And they're arguing specifically about this idea that we have to threaten them
Okay.
in order for us to get what we want, and we have to live with the idea that like violence might have to happen, and Seth is incredibly opposed to that.
Okay.
Marie,
I mean, what are they going to do if we're nice to them?
I would have thought, sorry for assuming that, like, you know, taking someone's kids is enough for them to get them to do what you want.
Voice down.
Oh my god, Ash is just, he's saying the same 5 words over and over again, and people are fucking eating it up. So don't worry about my voice level, Marie, all right? No one's gonna hear this.
Okay. I'm just saying that they're not going to fuck around with us. We have to. They've taken the hard line with us for the last 40 fucking years, and we need to do the same to them.
No, I won't do it because we're just as bad as them.
Well, maybe we need to be just as bad as them in order to get something changed.
I can't believe you'd say that, Marie. Jesus Christ.
Fight fire with fire, hey?
What does Asha think?
I think that he agrees with me, but he won't admit it.
Well, you could say that about anything. I could say that I think that the king thinks democracy is a great idea, but he just won't admit it. That's nothing. That's not even a thing, Marie. What? We need to talk about this tonight. We need to figure our shit out because we've got a week.
Okay.
Because the ball is the only night that we can do it.
Okay. We'll talk about it tonight. But people agree with me. Most people I've talked to have agreed with me on this. All right, if it was your kid, you'd do fucking anything, wouldn't you? And that's what we need right now. We can't play soft here.
Don't do that.
I'm just saying. But that reaction is exactly what we need from them.
God.
You understand me?
God. Yes, I understand you. I just don't like it.
Yeah. That's exactly what Ash said.
Well, look, I need to go because if I'm late for my shift again, no rent. So I know that I'm supposed to be hanging back, but tell Ash what I said and let him decide what he decides.
Okay. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just as the conversation finishes, there is a pounding on the door downstairs.
Okay.
And a shout of Royal Guard, open up. And everyone fucking freaks out because we're not technically doing anything illegal, but they don't need much of an excuse. So signs are getting pulled down. Ash has turned his mic off and he's jumped down off the podium, and everyone's trying to look as innocuous as possible. And I run back over to Lewis.
Lewis internally sighs, like, oh, fucking idiots, and looks back at you with a look of naive and panic. What's going on?
It's all right, mate. This happens sometimes.
Okay.
The cops turn up, they put their nose in our business, but nothing's going wrong here. So don't worry about it. Don't say anything. Say no comment if they ask you anything. Just stick with me. You'll be fine.
Okay. Got it. Do I have to make myself like a dead weight if they try and grab me?
I mean, yeah, but they won't try and grab you. They'll have to get through me first. You know?
Really?
I'll look out for you. I've got to admit, I don't have a great track record in fighting cops, but I'll give it my best shot.
I appreciate that. And
I just need 1 minute. I just need to text my manager. And he turns around and he tells his manager that he's going to be late.
Yeah, and again, internally, Lewis goes, you simpleton. I've got you.
I hate this man. I hate this man so much. This fucking bastard.
This was so and it was actually this. I'm getting better at this. And
I think that as the cops run up the stairs, we need to do rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, we've actually just hit 15 minutes.
Fantastic. Excellent. Okay.
Okay. Let me just. Okay. Rock is force.
I'm pretty sure
skill,
I know what I'm doing.
Scissors is speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think I know what I'm going to play.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
This is not going to work with lag, but never mind.
It's not going to work with lag, but let's just do it. Rock,
paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, you win. You decide the outcome.
Okay, so the cops run up the stairs and push aside the two guys that are on the door. And they say, they tell everyone to freeze, take their hands out of their pockets. And Seth has originally sort of positioned himself between you and the cops. His hands like that, sort of trying to protect you. And then he sees how many there are. And then he gets another text from his manager that says, even 1 minute late and you're fired, Marshall. And he turns around to you, shrugs, and dives through the open legs of an officer, and fucking runs down the stairs. Just like snaps past them with the agility of a terrified cat, and he's gone. And you are alone now in the room.
Oh shit. I guess. Yeah. So I band together with some of the other protesters, and I make a big show of it, and I allow myself to get arrested.
Excellent.
When the time comes, I show the appropriate details, and I am swiftly let go. Okay, that finishes that scene.
Yeah, excellent. So I won that scene, so it's my turn. Okay.
Yeah, you get to decide. You get to set the next scene.
Okay. I'm toying between two at the moment.
I can weigh in if that helps?
Yes. So I think the next time we meet is after is a couple of days after, and there's a big protest in what used to be Parliament Square. And all that remains of parliaments are like these imposing gates surrounding the shell of what it used to be.
We haven't said what happened to Parliament, have we?
You're right. Okay, so the thing that's incited the most recent wave of rebellion is that for a while, after the royal family won the civil war that led to them being in charge forever, they kept Parliament around as sort of like a token. And then within the past year, they've just fucking disbanded it. And they, in Guy Fawkes style, just blew it up. They've destroyed Parliament. And all that's left are these gates around the rubble warning people to not enter.
How long ago did that happen, actually? Because I can't remember if we said 5 or 10 years.
Oh, I thought it was like within the last year.
Oh, within the last year. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense, yes.
And you and I have found ourselves handcuffed together by the gates, forming like a human chain around
Is
the
this
outside of the building.
is this before or after the meeting that we went to that you said there was on at some point?
After.
After.
Mm-hmm. And I, in that meeting, was kind of like embarrassed and I didn't want to catch your eye because I bailed on you. So we are handcuffed together at this protest because we're all sort of sitting next to each other.
There's a little bit of an awkward silence.
Yeah, definitely. Seth keeps trying to talk and no words come out at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hi. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I think I'm getting the hang of this. I was quite nervous, and now I know that we're doing the right thing, and I know that we're raising awareness, and we're inspiring other people that the state of things isn't right. And I feel a lot more certain than I did.
I heard you got arrested.
Yeah. Oh, that was embarrassing. Wow.
How was that?
First thing that I went to and I got arrested. Oh. Well, it wasn't that bad. I managed to pay, I managed to get out on bail. With those savings.
Well, I'm glad they didn't keep you for too long because it can be pretty fucking grim. Hey, you never told me about you. Where do you work? What do you do?
Oh, I was working. I work at the university actually. I should be at work right now. I'm sort of skipping out. I'm a PhD student.
Oh, which department?
English.
Oh, that's funny. My sister studies English.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, she the big St. James's University in upstairs.
How curious. I believe I've seen. Yes, I read a paper. I think I read a paper that she co-edited a little while ago.
Lydia Marshall, right?
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, because your second name is Marshall. That would make sense. Man, what a coincidence.
Wow. So how does a PhD student end up here?
Oh, well, I think I try to make the work the focus of what I do, but I'm mainly sort of mainly a lot of what I'm doing is sort of I do tutoring as well. I manage a group of students, undergraduates. A lot of it is sort of emotional management, and so many of them are struggling, especially in this state. The funding has been dwindling for a long time. We've being one of the ones in Lower London, we don't get as much funding. Obviously, the funding doesn't quite go our way, doesn't quite get diverted, and you've got exams, you've got revision, you've got quotes to learn, and the world is so hard on top of all that. And I think I've been thinking about it for a long time, and now it's kind of it got to a point where things have to change. We're the people on the ground level are doing everything to support London, both shit London and upstairs, and the people upstairs are living in a fantasy world. It's like a different planet. It's like,
yeah, it's mad to think that everything can be so different. Just, I fucking hate living in their shadow.
Literally. And I look up at the floating London above us.
There are, sorry, I think they're a royal guard kind of circling around the protest. And one of them spots you and nods in a sort of comradely fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of look at him and I look at you and I look back at him. What was that?
Oh, I think that's the guy who arrested me originally.
Oh, pig. Jesus, I'm sorry. I was late. I was late for work and I had to, I'm sorry that I didn't stick around and help you out. I know that was probably not a great first encounter for you. But I have to do what I have to do.
Well, like I say, I got myself out of it. I mean, I don't live very lavishly. That money's really for important things. And this is an important thing. I think this is something that, I'm not very strong. I'm not very together, I guess, like you are. But I think I could help with funding.
Well, I mean, we always need more money. All of the tech that we use is 10 years out of date. This, and he kind of gestures to the scar tissue on his head. This doesn't come cheap as well, especially when you've got to get it redone every 6 months because it keeps phasing out. Yours actually it's really nice. How did you manage that?
I lean in as close as I can get with the handcuffs on us. And I say quietly, I have 20k in a bank account.
Holy fucking shit. That's more money than any of us have ever seen in years, in months, in...
I can help. Please let me help. I look into your eyes.
Yeah.
Adoringly.
I look into yours and there was maybe a flicker of concern until I take in the way that you're looking at me, your face turned up towards mine, and my mouth is talking before my brain has had a chance to process what it's saying, and it just comes out in a rush, and I say, I'll tell you everything. There's like adrenaline now because he knows that Asher would kill him if he found out that he was just spilling his guts about the plan to someone. But also, God, this movement is so lonely, and there's someone here who trusts him finally, instead of this weird backstabbing game that he has with everyone else. And he's so caught up in that feeling that he just spills it. He says, "Right, there's a ball next week. The ball of the seasons that they do when all of the trees upstairs start flowering at the same time in spring."
Yeah.
Well, obviously the king's going, and his wife is going, and all of his kids are going, but we think that we can get to them. So we have someone who works in the palace, and they said that all of the kids are visiting the tailor that day to make sure that everything fits perfectly. And there'll be a moment when they're all with the tailor in his shop, and they'll be less guarded than they normally are. And that's when we're going to do it. We've got a team. We're going to get them. And we're going to bring them down here, and we're not going to let them go until the king acquiesces to our demands.
I see. Wow.
Go big or go home.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, when we talked about it, it just, it seemed to make sense. And I never really questioned it. Yeah, it's fucking mental. Oh God, I'm about to commit so many crimes.
What do I do? What can I do?
Well, I mean, we've got everything sorted already. But we need as many people as possible creating distractions and roadblocks, because the more distance that we can put between the royal guard and us, the better a chance we have of getting them back down here.
Okay. Okay.
I can't believe I just told you that.
I appreciate that you would tell me. Is there a small... So who's organising this? Is it a small group of people? Is it...
Yeah, it's me and it's Asher and it's Marie. And it's Andy and Michael. That's it.
I make a mental note of all those names.
He lifts your handcuffed hands up, and with his he like he's caught up in himself, and he's excited, and he runs his hand under your jaw, into your chin, and he kind of like holds it so you can't look away from him, and he asks, "Tell me honestly, how is this as an introduction to being a criminal?"
Well, I'd say it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Shall we resolve this scene with rock, paper, scissors? Oh man, this is difficult because we're literally handcuffed.
I know. Well, it says handcuff him, so I handcuffed him.
We could, I mean, because we could resolve it, or we could just move on if it feels like a natural ending. Because I think my money is on that feels like a natural ending to me.
Yeah.
So cool.
Would we be okay to take a break?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, I want to check the chat.
5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm going to check the chat.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to grab another drink.
Are we turning cameras off, or I might like... You know what? I'll share my screen and I'll get a timer up.
Yeah, nice.
Google timer. And that will make it really clear. Yes, it's set up. So a 5-minute break. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Google timer, share. Okay. 5-minute break, everyone. Have you stopped your video or?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm reading the comments. This is so cool. You speak all of the Royal Guard Cockney. Got about a minute and a half, Leo, if you can hear me.
Little baby man. What do you want?
It's Leo.
Does my son require a snack? Would like a snack from father? Yes, I will do that for you. Give me a minute. Biscuits for the little man. For my boy.
Leo, you've got 30 seconds, mate.
Here you go, a snack.
Can't fucking hear me. Oh, it's so good. We said we were going to do so well on timings, and we've spent like half an hour on 2 scenes. This always fucking happens. Oh. Hey, mate. I can't fucking hear you. Your microphone is like in a bin somewhere.
I was sitting on it. I just want to apologize because my pain has been really bad today, so I've not been focusing properly. But I've just taken some of my tasty, nice big boy drugs, so that should fix it. That should fix it up well. Also, I read the chat and I feel 1,000 times better. I was so anxious, and then I read it and I was like, no, everyone's into it. It's fine.
I can't because I can't wait to read all of the chat when we finish. It's going to be so interesting.
So good.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I have a pitch for a solo scene. So another way of this game is you have duo. I mean, we're kind of being a bit loosey goosey with the rules here, but in the rules as written, you have duo scenes and solo scenes. Solo scenes concern a player character and a non-player character who's then played by the other player. We kind of did a bit of that in that first scene where I played Marie. But that's how this works. If you need someone who's not the player character, the other person plays them for you. Looking at the prompts, actually, I'd quite like to do a solo scene where I take a chewing out from my boss over my lack of progress.
Yeah, excellent.
If you play the older gentleman who I introduced in the first scene, in the opening scene. Let me get my timer up. Here's my stopwatch. Okie dokie, we good?
Yes, we are.
Stop the timer. So I imagine that Lewis is sat in his ceremonial uniform. Also, we noticed that the uniform itself has a logo on the front, JV, and so Lewis is sat in an office with the blinds are closed, and his boss Jerry is sitting across from him at this kind of like this big table. Yes, and so the pitch for this scene is I'm going to get chewed out for my lack of progress.
Mm-hmm. It's been 3 days.
I know, but
you have what?
I have a list of names of the people who are apparently planning to kidnap the king's children. The king's kid.
Everyone can have a list of names, David. I need proof. There is nothing that we can do without proof. You know this. I taught you this.
I'm getting there, all right?
You have 4 days now until this supposed act of terror. And I need a little bit more reassurance that you know what you're doing.
Listen, I'm not like a couple of the other guys. I don't just walk in and try and act like I'm the tough guy and that I'm meant to be there. I act like I'm not meant to be there so that people take pity on me. So that I make people feel powerful. I make people believe that they have control over me.
And how's that working out for you?
It's working out pretty well. Because I think
not on paper.
It is working out, all right? You just have to trust me. All right, I'm a little bit more in touch with my emotions than some of your other flunkies.
Don't get me started. Emotions, if there's anything that I tried to teach all of you, it's that emotions have no place in work like this.
This is how you get them, though. This is a group of very emotionally volatile people. A lot of people who feel marginalized, who feel distrustful of the state, and this is the way in. You make them. You give them someone that dotes on them, that thinks they're the best person in the world, that makes them believe they can do anything, and that's how you take them out. It's simple.
Sometimes I doubt that you are giving me your best. And then I hear you say something like this. And you really are a machine, aren't you?
I have to be. And you know why I have to be.
And you know what will happen if you aren't.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to wait until you'd finished this, but I think you deserve a little motivation. And he turns to his left-hand desk drawer, unlocks it and opens it, and he pulls out a letter. It's like lined paper torn out of a notebook, writing on both sides, and he passes it to you. This is from her. She wanted to assure you that she's well. She's being well treated. And that she needs you to succeed.
When do I get to see her again? When do I get to see my own goddamn mother again?
That's not a question I can answer. You know that this is not linear. You know when I think you've earned it. And I can't tell you when that will be. I hope it will be next week.
It will be next week.
Well,
It will be. You can count on me. Do you promise I can see her if I get this done?
you will see her when I decide that you can, and not a moment before. You know that I don't make promises, David.
Okay, I'll work on the hope then. I'll work on the hope.
Good boy. Oh, you always were incredibly promising, but it gets in the way. You are a person, and you forget that sometimes. And it will come out to remind you at the most inconvenient of times. I've told you this before.
Part of me is a person, and I can put that in a box for as long as I need to.
Well, see to it that it doesn't open prematurely, please. There's a lot on the line here, as you well know.
Okay.
I will assure your mother that you are in good health and working towards your goal.
Okay. Okay. I'll get on with it. Oh,
Yes.
Yes, and they have an inside person at the palace.
Excellent. Yes. I'll see to it that the shift rotation of the palatial guard is changed so that this supposed person will be out of the picture. Any more information you can get me, both I and your mother would appreciate it.
Don't talk like she appreciates it. What I do.
She does. She's very proud of you, you know.
You don't know her.
Perhaps not. But I do know you.
I get up and I walk out.
Goodbye. Okay.
It's a nice little solo scene.
Yeah. Can I pitch another solo scene, please?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it's me and my sister, who I live with.
Mm-hmm. Lydia, isn't it?
Yeah, Lydia. And I have just about managed to scrape the rent together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving it to her a day late, but I'm giving it to her to give to the landlord. And she's not supportive of my choices in life.
Your political choices, or like your
okay, my
right.
choices to do crime. She's not fond of.
Okay.
So should we scene paint a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the flat that we share is pretty small. I sleep on a fold-out sofa in the living room, and she has a bedroom. And the place that we spend the most time is the kitchen, because one of us is always cooking something to remind us of home. And as I step into the house, I can smell something on the stove, there's ginger and there's garlic and there's onion, and I'm like, oh, Lydia's making my favorite.
Lydia is making a stir fry, and she's got kind of slightly crimped brown hair that just goes past her shoulders, and she's just sort of concentrating on keeping not making sure the vegetables don't fucking burn. Just kind of shunting the wok, and occasionally like pouring some soy sauce on it.
Okay, so I let the door shut behind me, and I like kick my shoes off and run into the kitchen, and I slam down the envelope of rent money on the table. Lyd, I've got it.
Wow, I've got a fucking wok in my hand. I could have killed you.
Well, I trust you. That was an example of how much I trust and love you, my big sister. I trust you not to kill me with your wok.
All right. She takes the envelope. Thank you.
Sorry, it's late. I'll have it on time next month. But it is all there.
More protests.
It's nothing that I'm risking my job over. All right, I've stopped booking them. I've stopped booking shifts over when I'll be protesting. All right, it's not.
It's just. I'm sorry. It's just getting to be a bit of a. I try not to live in your pocket, but it's starting to get a bit. I'm worried about you.
I know, Lid.
I'm worried, and it plays on my mind. And if you could just be a bit more low key about it, like you can still support the cause. Maybe you could get good at social media, and then that's a transferable skill.
I'm perfectly
serious.
happy. I know you're serious, and I'm telling you that I'm perfectly happy doing what I am doing to help. I don't need to do social media. I'm good at what I do there.
Why do you need to do it? Why do you need to do it?
Because nobody else will.
It could be any other hot-headed, political mad person. Like, why does it have to be you? Why?
Because I care, and not a lot of people care. They need people who are dedicated. Otherwise, nobody will ever listen to us. It has to be me. It has to be us. I'm sorry, Lid. I wish it could be different, but it can't.
Seth, it's just wearing me down a bit, honestly.
I'm sorry. I don't want to make your life hard. I could start looking for other places if that would take the strain off.
I can help. It's just this constant cycle of like, are we going to have somewhere to live, like, all the time? And like, and it's like this, you running down and like touchdowning the rent. It always feels like we just at the last second managed to do it. And I'm trying to be cool about it. I'm trying to stay cool, and I'm trying to stay collected, but it's getting me down.
Yeah. Maybe you should start looking for roommates who are more reliable, and I will start looking for.
Wait,
somewhere else.
A different roommate?
I'm hurting you, Lid. I'm causing you all this stress, not just with the rent, but with everything that I do. And I can't stop. Like, that's not going to change. And something needs to. And I can't keep hurting you like this. So yeah, maybe I should move out.
She puts the wok down and just like grabs you and pulls you into a hug and holds you really close. Puts her hand on like the back of your head.
She smells like our home used to. And every single time we're hugging, and I have my head sort of like on her chest, because I'm about a head shorter than her. I breathe in, and it smells like home, and it always makes me tear up a little bit. You deserve better, Lid. You deserve better than a deadbeat brother with a dangerous hobby.
It doesn't get better than you idiot.
I think it does a bit, though.
You know what I mean? She pulls away a little bit. I wouldn't just drop you, you know? That's not what siblings do. That's not what we can do. The way
I know. And it's not dropping me. It's that I just think you deserve better.
I'm going to stick by you. I don't agree with everything that you do, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean you stop being my brother. Nothing stops meaning that you're my brother, my sibling.
Yeah. Maybe. Lyd, I think you should get out of here for a while.
What do you mean?
Just, take a holiday. Go visit Grandpa in Kent or something. Just for a week. I think you deserve it. I'll look after everything here.
You sure?
Yeah. Please, Lyd. Just for a week.
I'll talk to work. I'll talk to work.
And good.
Is that scene?
Yeah.
Cool. We should have another scene together.
Mm-hmm.
I should have been keeping track of the scenes. Hang on, so we've had the opening. Yeah, it's scene 1.
We've had the opening and 4 scenes now.
Yes, you're right. Okay, Okay. So by my notes, we have 5, 6, and then the ending. Okay. Because I feel like we've got to get in on this this plot now.
Yeah, I agree.
Like it's getting pretty close.
So
I'd like for there to be another chance for a heart-to-heart between our two characters, though. A little bit more.
I agree.
But like something that also drives the plot forward, in that sense.
What are your duo prompts? Have you got? Are any of them jumping out to you?
Oh, that's a good idea. Not really. I'm not really seeing any of them work, unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
Part of me, you go and then I'll suggest as well, and we'll see how they fit together.
Well, I was thinking of modifying one of my duo prompts to make it that Seth calls Lewis and tells him that he needs to be ready to move now, that the plan's changed.
Okay.
And then they meet and.
Okay, so that, and then the scene starts with us meeting the plans. The plans change. Yeah.
But my tropey fanficky heart wants there to be a scene where we're at the ball together.
Because what I was going to suggest is some scene where I've bought a load of assets for this faction, and it's kind of like that's something that or we establish in some way. We need to decide on something because we're talking about this a lot.
You're right.
Let's go with at the ball. So yeah. It's at the ball.
Yep. And so the two of us have been assigned to keep an eye on how things are going there. And so we're both in like fancy suits.
Yep.
Obviously.
That I've bought for us. Yeah.
You just went ahead and did that. And I was thrilled because I'd never owned a suit in my life. And then we both have like communicators like freshly implanted behind our ears that are letting us know when they're planning on like sort of moving in to
Yes.
intercept.
Yeah.
We're
like
and we're undercover waiting to stage a distraction on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So they can get away unnoticed.
Yes. Okay, I like that. I really like that.
Okay, cool. So we are dancing in this grand ballroom. It's
together.
Yes, obviously.
Yes. Okay.
Of
yes.
course. Come on.
No.
We've
Sorry.
got 2 scenes left till the end, kid. We've got to raise the stakes.
Yeah, man. I get it.
Yeah. It's time to. So you've got these like marble columns on the end, and people are sort of like standing, watching the dance. And there are waiters moving through past those marble columns, bringing people drinks. And then the king is actually sat at the head of so sort of like looking out over the ball. And the two of us are on the dance floor underneath this massive chandelier. I'm leading, even though I'm shorter.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't know how to dance. You'd know how to dance.
I would know how to dance. Yes.
Okay, so you're leading, and I'm a bit confused.
Okay. You seem to have got into the groove of it now.
Yeah, I'm standing on your feet way less. So I'm sure that's great for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've got to say, when I signed up for a life of anti-authoritarian crime, I didn't think that ballroom dancing would be a skill that I would have to have. But
well, I mean, technically, we could just stand by the side and just sort of watch and drink and eat canapes. But this is more fun, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, we've got to live a little. Besides, I already nicked loads of the canapes and I put them in my pocket. The left pocket is full of shrimp, and the right pocket is full of like sort of weird little phyllo pastry things.
Full of shrimp? You've got a pocket full of shrimp?
I've got a pocket full of fucking shrimp, mate.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard. I can't believe this. Most people go for a pocket full of sunshine. Pocket full of shrimp is absolutely.
Pocket full of shrimp is the lesser known sequel to Pocket full of sunshine.
Oh God, you're gonna stink for days after this.
Well, I'm not going to be wearing the tuxedo for days after this. The tuxedo is probably going to be a bit shrimpy forever.
I can get it dry cleaned for you. I can do that.
Thanks. I have no idea what to do with any of this stuff. I probably would have just like put it in the washing machine.
No worries. You look good in it.
Thanks. So I've got to ask, how do you know all of this? How do you know how to dance? How do you know how to get a tuxedo to fit properly? How do you know how to tie a bow tie? Because that shit looks impossible.
Oh, I did ballroom dancing in secondary school, and I managed to get to the semi-finals once. I know it's so embarrassing.
What kind of secondary school did you go to?
I went to a kind of a nice one. My mum paid for it.
Well, I'm glad.
How about you?
I went to one of the shitty ones in the middle of shit London. It was like, all of the teachers did not want to be there. Everyone hated each other. That's not true, actually. I had some pretty good friends, but there were a lot of pretty clear political divides, to be honest, even back then. And I dropped out when I was 15 because I just couldn't be bothered, and they didn't ever bother chasing me. So then I just started working at the newsagents, and I still work there 7 years later. So love that for me. I've got a great life, really aspirational. I do not have any GCSEs, and I'm a criminal.
Oh.
And now I'm standing in the Royal Palace dancing.
What do you want to do aside from the protesting?
Honestly, man, I don't know. It's been my life almost since I left school. Like, there was a year where I was just, fucking about and working and getting high all the time because I hated it there. And I was just so angry all the time. just this base level of hate towards everything, towards here. And then I saw a flyer and I went to a meeting and I met Asha, and that was it. I had a goal.
And
so I have no idea what I'm going to do once.
And the anger just went away right like that.
No, we just found somewhere to channel it. So it didn't build like it had been for so long, just this kind of sick feeling like you're full of it. No, I'm still angry, but I have somewhere to put it now. You know?
I don't think I do know.
Hmm.
And there's a look in his eyes that you haven't seen before. Like you're looking through a book and you're expecting the next page to be there and it's just a blank page.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Do you want to... Maybe we should get a drink.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Nothing alcoholic though. Got to, you know, we're on the job. Got to stay sober.
Yeah.
We'll have a mocktail. God, drinking mocktails. My 16-year-old self could see me, be fuming. As the song ends and we break apart, I keep my hand on your waist as we move through the crowd over to the bar. Like I don't even notice that it's there. It just feels natural for me to keep it there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get there and I kind of realize, I'm like, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
He turns to the bar and orders 2 like sort of fucking fruity nonsense drinks. And you can see even in the low lighting that there's like a flush like high on his cheeks.
And you took your hand away and I still feel the kind of like an imprint, an outline there.
Mm-hmm.
And Lewis does not like that at all. This is not what's supposed to happen.
He turns around and hands it back to you, and his hand is like shaking so much.
What do you hand to me? Sorry, I missed that.
Like a stupid fruity nonsense drink.
Okay.
Like a non-alcoholic, like fruit.
Yeah, mocktail.
Wank.
I know. Yeah,
yeah.
Got it. No, I got it. Don't worry.
And as I hand it to you, my hand is shaking so much that I nearly spill the drink on your white shirt. And I'm like, oh fuck, sorry. It's just the nerves, you know.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. And I take it and I drink it.
This is all sugar.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm not going to be able to. This is almost as bad as alcohol. You haven't mentioned having a partner at all.
Oh.
Someone you love?
Yeah. He's a little caught off guard by the question, but the fact that you've asked it is like enough to, like, his heart is beating a little faster now. And he says, yeah, well, actually, like, me and Marie used to have a thing. Yeah, just for a bit, like a couple of years ago, but it's, you know, it's fine now, and we're yeah, and then I don't really have. I'm bi, by the way. Like I'm not like just because I've dated her.
Cool.
I'm, you know, I also
same.
Yeah. Oh, nice, isn't it? It's great. It's great to be bi.
Oh, that's cool. So I just never thought to ask.
He is drinking like he wishes the drink was alcohol, to save him from the idiocy that he's just like committed.
So
what about you? Sorry, I didn't ask. Do you have a...
Oh, I've had a couple of relationships, but not for a while. Focusing on work, you know.
Yeah.
I'm quite dedicated, and I sometimes don't have time for other people, and obviously that's not a great trait to have in a relationship.
Yeah, I'm unreliable, and I'm messy, terrible person to live with. And the only thing I really care about is the cause. And I think that frustrated Marie, actually, because I think she was expecting me to care more about her. And so I don't, I've never really had time. So it's going to be weird if we win to suddenly have all that space and nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Be good space though, won't it?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And as we're talking, we both feel a buzz where our communicators are implanted to let us know that it's time. And I put my drink down and I grab you by the hand.
Again, I feel that kind of explosion of like sort of tingles go up my arm, and I'm trying to extremely angry with myself, but doing my best not to show it, and it's not quite working. And I follow you.
Right?
Sorry?
You know what this means, right?
Yep.
It's time.
Yep. Let's go.
Okay. And I look at the king, and I look at the guards, and I take a breath, and I say, there's a good chance that we're not going to make it out of this in one piece. You know that. I know we've talked about that, but just in case we don't, I let go of your hand. And again, this is like a bullet time kind of situation.
Yeah.
With one hand, I reach into the concealed holster that I managed to get past security because we have someone who was working there who let us through. And I bring out a gun. I lift it in the air and aim it at the wire of the chandelier.
Yep.
With the intent to bring it down.
At the same time, no, sorry, you finish what you're saying, and I'll say what I'm doing at the same time. Yes.
My other hand bunches in the front of your shirt, pulls you towards me, and kisses you as I shoot. As
you raise your hand and you kiss me, my hand goes to the buffet table. I grab a silver tray. I haul it into the air, and I block the tranquilizer dart that comes from a dark corner of the room.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The chandelier crashes to the floor, and everyone starts screaming.
Yep. And we're still like an inch away from each other because the kiss has also just happened.
Yeah, and I'm like, sorry.
We have to go.
I just figured.
Follow me.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah.
And I grab,
okay.
I grab you by the back of your coat, or the back of your suit jacket, and with a strength that I have never shown before, I haul you to a corridor that opens out, and there's a big window at the end of the corridor with like a little table, and you can view. I open the window and we jump out of the window.
Yes.
Onto the roof of like what they call the Royal Guards. Onto the roof of
one of the like SWAT vans.
On one of the SWAT vans.
Yes, excellent. And so we're both like crouched on the top of this van, and I am looking at you. I am awestruck and I am in love because this whole time you've been this kind of like shy, nervous, like I thought that I would have to be, and then you've just done this, and I'm like,
don't ask questions. We have to go now.
Okay.
Do what I say. You have to do what I say. And we're going to cut across this. We're going to cut across the field. we're gonna turn onto the street. We're gonna run halfway down, take the next street, and then we're gonna hide in. There's an alley down there. We can hide in there. There's actually a bar also around that area. We can hide in there. We wait for 30 minutes or so, and then we move on, and then we wait for another 30 minutes, and then we move on again. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, I understand. Let's do it.
Okay, let's fucking go.
So we do it. We fucking go. We fucking run. So this is coming to a climax that we need to resolve. I think that waiting for us as we turn down an alley is a row of soldiers, but they're not Royal Guard. They are all wearing black capes, black military jackets with epaulets, and a logo on their cape that says JV.
Yep.
And I like skitter to a halt, looking around, and as we turn, we can see another row of them closing us off. And I look at you and I'm terrified. And I'm usually the one that has to sort these things out, but I just have this faith that you will know what to do in this situation because I'm out of my depth. And I'm like, what do we do?
So just to be clear, it's like a street. Are there buildings around?
Yeah, it's an alley. So there are two like tall like glass buildings. All of the lights in them are off. They're like office buildings.
Okay.
And we are now surrounded on both ends of the street by members of your weird secret brotherhood of narcs.
Okay. Okay, here's what I do. All right, you have to trust me. Do you trust me? Do you trust me?
I trust you.
Okay, this is gonna hurt. I grab a pocket knife, and I grab your neck, and I dig out the communicator that we've had embedded into your. And there's like, there's a lot of blood.
Jesus Christ!
Just hold your hand against it, and I dig out my own, and I dig out another one that you did. I dig out the other one I told you was for my headaches. And then I clutching the bloody chip in my hand, the one that I had before that wasn't given to me by the protesters. I fiddle with it, and in the air you hear like a kind of deafening like static, and all of the agents on both sides like clutch their heads like there's like a signal, there's like a deafening static signal that I've sent out to everyone.
That's not a fucking headache chip, is it?
No, it's not. Let's go. And I grab you again, and I kick a bunch of my colleagues out of the way. And we run to another alley, I guess. We keep running until we reach I don't know, where do we reach? You decide.
We reach I think we reach there's a decommissioned service elevator that was faulty and sort of unused, and we throw ourselves over the fence for that, and there's a light on inside, and our lot have made it so that we can use it to get down. And so we get to the elevator and the doors close behind us, and it's just us.
Still breathing. I'm still breathing heavily.
Yeah, I'm sat on the floor just like stunned.
Like blood is, my hands are covered in blood. The blood is like trailing down and like ruining my lovely, very expensive dress suit. And the same's happening to you, I guess, as well.
Yeah, I've taken my bow tie off and I've like bunched it up and pressed it against the chip.
Fuck. Ow. Well,
do you want to tell me what that was? Do you want to tell me who you are?
Where would you like me to start?
as far back as you can.
Okay. Seth. Okay. They recruited me just after I finished my 3rd year at uni. I was struggling to find a research job. I wanted to work in media. My tutor said I should go for the job, good researcher. And by the time I figured out what JVR, I was in too deep. They've got my mum, and I have to do whatever they tell me to, or they'll kill her.
Jesus. Fuck, but you just
Oh my God, what do I do? They're going to kill her.
it's okay. It's okay.
I fuck this up. I lied. I betrayed you, and I enjoyed doing it until I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
He sinks to the floor and like is sat with his back against the inside of the elevator.
We're like opposite each other, I think.
How big is these elevators? Because you said they were like a shipping container. That's quite big.
Yeah, size of a shipping container.
Okay.
So we're opposite each other on the narrow side, and it's pretty dark. But because there's like holes in the side instead of windows. And on one side the moon is shining through. And it sort of casts us both into this like ethereal silvery light as we bleed on the floor of this industrial piece of shit.
Oh fuck! The least I can do, I rip a strip off of my my dress shirt, and I start like I ball it up, and I reach over and I try and soak up the blood from your neck wound that I made.
It's okay. I've got my bow tie. It's fine. You've got 2 wounds.
This is the least I can do. Let me do this. Let me do this for you.
Okay. Jesus. Okay. And I tilt my head to give you access to the wound. So not only are you a cop, you're like a super bad, super dangerous cop.
I'm yeah. I was going to try and say I'm kind of a cop, but it's all the same, isn't it?
I can't believe this. I can't believe I trusted you. God. It's pathetic. I'm pathetic. I trusted you because you were there and you were giving me those eyes, like you were completely adrift in the world and you'd finally found a tether, and I fucking fell for it like an idiot. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed almost kissing you on the protest line and feeling your heartbeat under my fingers. And I enjoyed every single moment of this elaborate fucking scheme that you made up to get me to trust you. And I don't know if I'm more disgusted with myself or you, but at least you're being blackmailed into it and I'm just a fucking fool.
I thought that I was enjoying fucking you over and deceiving you and manipulating you, but looking back, I think actually I liked you, and that's how I justified it. And I think,
I mean, a hell of a fucking time to realize it, Lewis.
No, I know.
Is that even your real name?
No, it's not.
Yeah. What is it then?
David. And he
Hi, David.
starts crying, just absolutely sobbing.
I am, all of my anger and confusion kind of just like stops. Like it just, I put a cork in it and I hold you, and I let you cry into my shirt, and I'm sort of like awkwardly like patting you, like there, it's fine, it's gonna be fine.
He's just a mess. He can't even like speak. It's just sobbing and sobbing.
I think that I hold you like that until we feel the bump of the elevator signaling that we've arrived at Old London.
If you let your friends kill me, you'd be well within your rights to do that. And
no, I fucking hate killing. I won't do it. I won't let them. And I think to get to the rock, paper, scissors here, the doors open and our comrades sort of stand accusingly.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them holding guns, arms, the ones that aren't armed, arms folded, glaring down at us.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get out of this? I'm ready to go when you are.
Yes. Okay. I've got my I know what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. It happened!
Yes, we're in sync.
Okay, I'll tell you what I was going to do. I was going to tell your guys everything,
Mm-hmm.
like, and just completely submit to any punishment. What was your plan?
I was gonna try and like talk our way out of it, basically. And
okay, that makes sense then.
Implore them, like, you know me, and if I tell you that I trust this man, that has to be enough. So I think that I let you tell them everything, and I think they take us to like one of their safe houses.
Yeah.
And I think actually it's the safe house that they've kidnapped the kids in, and the kids are in like the next room. And
so they managed to do it then. Interesting.
Yeah, they did. They did manage to do it. And I let you explain, and once you finished, there's just kind of a silence, and then they all leave the room, and I follow, and I talk them into letting you live.
Do you want to play that out, or should we just because I'm aware that we've got 3 minutes?
What, until it finishes?
Yeah, it's nearly 5.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, technically we still have a scene in the ending to do, but that was like 2 scenes.
Yeah, that was like 8. That was like 20 minutes.
Yeah. So I think we should move to the ending.
Okay.
The denouement.
Okay.
So I'm happy to not play it out and just barrel through to the conclusion, if that's okay with you.
Yep, that's fine with me. So where do we find ourselves in this final scene?
I think it is like a couple of days after the kidnapping, and all that's on the screens is like, in all of the screens across the city, is Asher with his demands for the king. And we're waiting to hear if the king is going to acquiesce. And I think I am coming to the realization that they're prepared to use violence and I'm not, and I think that I want to get out. I don't know where we are physically though. I don't know if we would still be in the safe house, or
I feel like we'd still be in the safe house because like so many people saw us at the ball.
Yeah, you're right. Like I can't go back home, and because I know that they will have like raided my house by now, which is obviously why I told Lyd to like get away.
Yeah.
and I've someone's just helped me in a far more dignified way than you did get this communicator out of my temple, because it can be used to trace me now. And we're sitting in this small room, and it has it's got like a camp bed in it and like a little table and a dim lamp, and that's it.
I am on my laptop. I'm on a laptop. Trying to. I'm on the. Oh fuck! I can never remember what it is. It's either the dark web or the deep web.
What? Yeah, I know what you mean. One of the two.
But like, I don't want people to at me and be like, actually, one of those is unlisted pages, and the other one has black market stuff. I can't fucking remember which one it is, guys. I'm on the dark web, trying to, and I've been trying to figure out where fucking JV have been keeping my mother.
Yeah.
And I'm periodically looking up at the news and back down at the laptop. I've got a bunch of like printed out PDFs on how to use the dark web and that kind of stuff.
The window is like newspapered up, and there's a tiny sliver in one of them, and I'm looking out through it. And I just kind of rest my head against the window, and I'm like, I just don't. What do we do? What are we gonna do now?
I look up and see the light filtering on. See the tiny bit of light filtering onto your face, just kind of cascading past your cheekbone, and I smile a little because you look beautiful. And I say, I don't know. If we want out, that is going to be a job and a half.
We need to find your mum first.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yep.
And then, I just don't. Fuck. David, I just don't think I can do it anymore.
Well, whatever you want to do, I'm right behind you.
Do you reckon we could get to the north?
I mean, that's crazy that I mean, the north is the north. Like, no one. I hear amazing things about it.
Yeah. Yeah, God, when the country split, we were really on the wrong side.
Yeah, Harry and Meghan made the right call.
Yeah, they really fucking did.
Yeah, their kids are smart.
I mean, think about it this way. We've committed just loads of crime in the past week, and we haven't been caught.
Yep.
And I think that if we can do that, we can do anything. I think we find your mother, and I think we go north.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unable to stop myself, I put the laptop down and I walk over to you, still with the sliver of light on your face. And I hesitantly, gently kiss you.
And now the moonlight is sort of landing on both of our faces, illuminating kind of like just the place where our faces are touching. And I kiss you back like you are the only source of hope that I have left, that I am drinking from, because I feel adrift right now, apart from when I look at you. And every single time I doubt the future, I look at you and I'm like, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. So I have both hands on your face and I am kissing you back.
My fingers trace over the scar that I gave you, and I sit in this feeling where Lewis, he thought he was alone for a very long time, and now I've found someone. I've found someone who's allowed to see me, who is interested in me, and who I can fight for.
Should we ask the questions?
My question isn't very relevant.
I think it is if you count the mission as getting your mum back.
Yes, you're right.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay then. I pull away, my hand's still on like your forearms. Are we even going to find her safe?
Okay. Again, as the same as last week, this isn't a question Seth knows the answer to, but it is a question Leo knows the answer to.
Yes, that's how this works.
And I have more match points than you, I believe. I have 2 and you have 1.
Fucking not been keeping count.
Wait, no, because if I win the rock, paper, scissors, you got the match points. You have 2 and I have 1.
I've fucking not been keeping count. Never mind.
No, it's fine. So we narrate this collaboratively. Okay.
You lead it though. I like it. I like you leading my question and I lead your question. Go.
Yeah. So flash forward. It's a couple of days' time. And we are in some fucking bit of countryside somewhere in the south, and we've made it past the fences with the razor wire and the hazard signs, and there's a facility laid out in front of us. It's concrete, but it's black, and there are floodlights illuminating it, and patrols around the edge, and we squeeze each other's hands and we kiss. And then we make our way into the facility carefully, and it takes a long time sneaking past everything. And I think you are clutching a piece of paper that you were never supposed to have access to, with the cell number of your mother on it that you have held onto ever since it accidentally found its way into your hands. And we get to the cell.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yes. Are we continuing this scene, or because I'm like, now I have to figure out a way that we would do that, and I'm rather like, it happens.
It'll be a lot. Yeah. This is the nice, neat conclusion bit. So,
and then your question can take place after that resolves.
Yeah.
So what? And then so we cut back to the moment, the light on our faces, having just kissed. You ask your question.
My question is, will I know this, but I'm just double checking. Yes. Will I resolve the big issue my way?
Okay.
Which I guess at the heart of it is, will this be solved with non-violence? Okay,
I've got something. So we are at it's quite a way in advance, but we are at the summer home of one of the king's eldest son.
Wow. Okay.
So the king's eldest son is, I will say, he's a young man, 22, and he
And is this in several years' time?
Like, hang on, because I was like, I'm trying to game this so that it's not too far in advance, but like this could be several years' time. Yeah. The point is, one of the king's children is an adult. And he comes. So there's a shot. He walks in from his bedroom to his beautiful dining room. Goes, Seth, are you still here? And the two of us are sat at his table with like a bunch of incriminating documents and photos about him. And he stood there in his pants. And you're sat next to me in your pants. I'm sat looking extremely formal. I'm dressed like a lawyer, basically, to kind of give an impression of exactly what situation this is going to be. And I'm
in my pants.
You are, because this couldn't happen if you didn't sleep with him.
Yeah.
I sling my arm around you. I put my hand on a photo, a security, like a kind of secret cam footage of you sucking his dick.
Yes.
I gently push it towards him along the table, and I go, well, we have some demands that we'd love to discuss with you.
Yes. And scene. That's it.
Scene!
That's excellent. Yes.
We did it. That was thrown together. That was thrown together. That was possibly.
By Groundhog Goth. We did that. And we only overran by 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Which is incredible. Okay, I'm going to open up the stream and read the comments now. Because
my God.
I need attention. Oh my God, that was so good. I'd like to say thank you to everyone for sticking with it, because I got really freaked out at the start, but it really came together after we had our break. Here it is.
Oh my goodness me. That was like one of the best runs we've ever done, I think. Like that felt like possibly the best run of one of these we've ever done.
James said, "Oh, did Seth ever get dressed? I've imagined him in just his pants this whole time."
Oh my God, I cannot wait to look through the comments.
That
was so much fun. That was so much fun.
That was so good.
Oh, there was drama, there was romance, there was double dealings. It was amazing.
Incredible.
Oh man, my hand is fucking shaking. I'm trying to drink
Same, honestly. Alice says that she is emotional. Thank you, Molly. Oh my gosh, I love this so much.
So how about we run until, just because we have the 20-second delay, we'll run until like past. And if people want to ask questions, we can make some bullshit up about these fictional improvised characters.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh my God, sorry, I'm still on a bit of a high. That was awesome.
Oh no, Alice cried.
Alice cried.
Fuck, no. Also, thank you to everyone who's being so nice. I'm really glad.
This was insane. I've been both worrying and looking forward to this so much. Like,
same.
The main thing I was worried about was the tech wouldn't work, and now that I know the tech works, I will never feel nervous again. That's a complete lie.
Can't relate. Like, I was so stressed, and the nerves like fucking massively got to me.
Fraser was nearly in tears many times. Oh my gosh. Brandon says this was a lot and I loved it. Again, not a rom-com, I would argue.
Yeah, we really fucked that one up. I think we should stop, because last week was barely a rom-com, and I think we should stop advertising it as a rom-com.
Yeah, like, because last week, the story, so Leo, do you want to shall we upload the previous 2 props that we've done? Because I really love that.
That does involve uploading my terrible southern accent for everyone to hear. Also, James has an actual question.
Oh yes, go James.
That he wanted to ask about the obvious communist dialectic we worked into the subtext. The answer to that is that I am a communist. I'm a dreadful little anarchist, actually, and as soon as we knew that there would have to be some kind of power imbalance at work, like as soon as we kind of knew that like one of us was a protester basically and the other one would have to stop it, we were like, how are we going to do this in a way that's like,
yeah, let's talk about that, because that was a weird
yeah,
thing to have to, because originally, because we talked about setting yesterday evening, and yeah, like, because we were like, oh, could it be a climate change thing? Could it be something like that? And then we were like, this is going to be so fucking controversial if we try and set it in the modern day.
yeah, exactly.
It's like fucking not what people need. So you had Leo, you had the idea of setting it in the future. We were either going to set it in the future or on a different planet, and I thought the different planet was a bit much. But it was your idea to set it in a dystopian future.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed like being able to play with that aspect of it, because then I think that like if you limit yourself to just current events, like the tension, I don't know, it's more difficult to be able to play with the tension of it because you're restricted to things which are actually happening now.
Also, like I'm so
future.
uninformed about current events that
this is the thing.
Yeah, I was very stressed that. Sorry, you go, Leo.
Sorry, no, I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was very worried about just like because both characters need to be informed about current events in order for the game to work, and I was so stressed about just fucking not knowing anything. Like Leo is Leo, you're way more informed than I am about these things. I've never been to a rally like that, and I hardly ever read the news, especially not at the minute.
This is the thing though, is that like the most important thing when you're doing something like this is for there to be an agreement of like things that are normal in the world that we're in and things that aren't. So last week, because the thing that we were playing was like low stakes in terms of like current affairs, we could set it in like the modern, like the normal world, and it was fine. But this week, the really important thing was for both of us to be on the same footing and have like a collaborative understanding of like, what is the setting, what is the normal. And we figured that because there's like a disparity between us, because I'm obsessed with all this shit and Sophie does the sensible thing and doesn't like drive themselves mad reading the news all the time, that it would make more sense for it to be set in a world that we both had a hand in creating.
Yes.
Also, Kirby, the rebellion didn't ever agree about first past the post. There was like a factional split.
What was the question? What was the question?
Did the rebellion ever agree about first past the post? And then Alice asked how we prepped for this, which was basically like we had a half-hour phone call last night where we were like, what's the world? What's the law?
We didn't decide. We decided on what playset we were going to play. So James has made a bunch of different playsets for thrown together, and we decided on the playset we wanted to do. We didn't decide who was going to play what part until yesterday.
Because we're both over preparers, and we wanted to make sure that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, because like for the last few games, we didn't really prepare anything. We had like a little conversation at the beginning about the characters, and I wanted to keep that. I kind of wanted to keep that off stream because it's not very interesting to watch. If I'm completely honest, it can be, but it kind of isn't really.
It ruins the surprise.
Yeah, exactly. So we had that conversation about our characters. We worked through. We figured out who we were, and I figured out who I worked for. We decided it wasn't going to be the government; it was going to be like the way I think of the JV was that they're kind of like they're basically a third party intelligence agency, a bit like Black Cube, who did intelligence they did intelligence for Harvey Weinstein and like kept tabs on everyone that he met and that kind of thing. That's how I was thinking of it. So we had a conversation about that. We also came up with the law for the world. We didn't talk too much about it, but we had a few things. We were like, there was a civil war. The monarchy's now in charge. Like there's a levitating London that's above shit London. Harry and Meghan own the North. That was my thing. I think that I came up with.
Molly has asked if we can go into more detail about what the North is like in this universe. So Harry and Meghan, when the Civil War happened, took the North, and it's like a utopia. It's beautiful. They have universal basic income. No one wants for anything. And the South is like a horrible dystopian nightmare.
I was a bit inspired by Victoriosity, which is a really great podcast set in a kind of alternate Victorian London. That kind of works a little bit like this. I'm having a look at the chat for other questions. What is it? Oh yeah, Fraser says, how many broken loves has Seth left behind, and how many cakes of theirs has he stolen?
So many. So it was one of my first like things when I was fleshing out the character was like, how is he introduced and what does that say about him? And I knew that I wanted him to be introduced like in the bed of someone that he shouldn't be. So yeah, Seth's broken the heart of every single eligible noble in upstairs London and stolen all of their cakes. Oh, that's a really good question, Alex. Did we know what the NPCs would do? No. So the only characters we established were like the concept of the king, but we knew that he probably wouldn't come into it. Mine and Soph's. And then for the rest of it, so like, for instance, I knew that Soph's character's boss was like a blackmailer. So we did have that piece of information.
Yeah, I think that he had some member of my family. I actually wrote it down as my dad, but then it became my mum, which was fine. We just ran with that. Like I was like, oh, it's my mum. That's fine.
Like I just knew that he had to be like a sinister piece of shit.
Because then also justified it also justified what I said earlier about it's like, oh, my mum died. Actually, she's not dead at all. She's in a secret location, which I thought I was like, oh, that works in a really interesting way. Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh no, and then my sister, like that was just a thing that I threw at Soph. We used to doing that to each other. Oh man, I feel I did feel really on the back foot for the first couple of scenes, and I do think it showed. And that's partly because I'm just having a bad day, but partly I think like that is the thing about setting it in a different universe, is that especially in the first couple of scenes, or like not different, you know what I mean, like the future, especially in the first couple of scenes, there's a really great book that Soph lent me called Do It Now, which is a book about narrative improv by Parallelogram Phonograph. And one of the things that they say is that like in order to establish like believable tension and conflict, you have to establish like the things that are normal in the everyday life of like everyone who is in the space that you're in. And sometimes that's just as simple as like you're in, you know, your house like you are now. Like, what are you doing? Are you getting breakfast? And when you live in a universe that is completely made up, all of that establishment is like a separate decision that you feel like you have to make instead of something like comes naturally, maybe. Oh, James has a question for you, Soph, because I don't do the tech.
I'm technically the producer. Yeah, you work for. Did you have any difficulties doing tech or otherwise doing this online via? Did you have any difficulties tech or otherwise doing this online via video chat? So the way I set this up is so the way that Zoom works is Zoom has a built-in feature where you can stream directly to any streaming service. They have a function called Stream to YouTube Live, which is okay, but what that does is it immediately starts you streaming now. So what you have to do is you have to set it up via custom live streaming service, and what that lets you do is you can schedule a live stream, and then you can ask the Zoom call to stream to that scheduled event. If you just do it through YouTube Live, it will just create an event immediately. So it was a lot less complicated than I thought it was. If you look it up online, Zoom have a guide on how to do it, and YouTube also have a guide on like what stream keys are. I don't really understand what stream keys are and like the streaming links. You basically have to copy and paste the right things into the right boxes, and then it works. Like also, I have a Zoom Pro account thanks to Comedy Society, and that allows us to have meetings that last longer than an hour. It's about 12 quid a month, but we use it for improv and stuff and other stuff as well. So that's how we set it up. We didn't have any technical problems as far as I know. Like obviously I just had Zoom open so that I could see Leo. But as far like I'll look back through the chat, maybe there was some times we dropped, but my internet connection seemed to stay stable. I was worried my computer was gonna crash because that's happened a couple of times and that didn't happen at all.
God has blessed us on this day, etc.
I don't believe we actually had any technical problems, which is awesome. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you to everyone who is being kind about me being stressed and distracted and saying that it worked with the
great.
performance.
I
Love
thought you
you
did
all
great in
lots.
those first few scenes. What are you talking about, man?
I don't know. I'm just like, you know what I'm like. Also, Fraser, that is a very interesting thing I never thought about before. That in the thing that I was saying about how you need to establish like what normal looks like. That apparently in every Disney movie there's like a song that's like I'm content in my life or this is how I live. For that exact reason. Oh yeah, and everyone in the chat is saying there were no tech issues at all. So
Good. Okay, that's good to
fantastic.
know. Thank you.
Okay, so I have a question for the people who are watching. Actually, come again next week.
Would you come again next week?
Would you do that?
Yes.
And now we have to wait 20 seconds for them to
Yep,
answer.
no,
Nerve-wracking.
Okay, I'm looking at the questions. What what so Kirby Sullivan asks, what was their wedding like? Was there many anarchy flags, communist manifesto printed on the drapes? Were there many cakes, one for each of the cakes Seth stole from his conquests?
Yes to all. We had a great wedding in the north. Okay, James has said yes. Capitals exclamation mark.
Oh, lots of people saying yes. Well,
Oh
Fraser
my
said
gosh,
yes. Fraser said yes 3 times. That doesn't quite count, but yes. Okay.
Thank you. This was thank you all for like coming and taking like 2.5 hours out of your day to watch us fuck about. It was really great and you're all great and I'm really glad that you had a good time. Thank you.
I'm gonna wrap up the stream because it's like I'm gonna actually see how I do that. Okay. So thank you so much for joining us. This has been so much fun. We'll hopefully do another one next week. We'll have a chat and we'll see what we can do. It'll probably be advertised on Twitter. On Twitter,
and it probably won't be a romantic comedy anymore.
Yeah, maybe we need to work on the copy.
Yeah, but we will be back.
Yes, awesome.
Thank you everyone so much. You're all fantastic. This has made my week.
Same. This has been awesome. Okay, should we wave goodbye? Bye.
Bye.
Ending the stream now.